Fear is not your enemy, and fear is not a bad thing. And we're all often so afraid to feel fear that we stop before we even get to feeling through the fear, because we're often afraid to feel fear, if that makes sense to you. Let's discuss this more in detail and learn how you can utilize your fear as a messenger to better understand what is actually going on below the fear. And this way you can actually start to take action into the direction that you want to. Okay, welcome back to my channel. This is Vanessa. If you're new here, hi, welcome. And let's get into it. So I'm giving a workshop today in person in Berlin around the topic of stepping through your fear to take action. Often, I'm sure you have your own example. We are so afraid of starting something new, saying no to something, saying yes to something, taking action in the direction that feels exciting for us. Or sometimes we need to take action in the direction that we know is right for us, even though it doesn't feel too easy and comfortable to go in that way. Let's say we have to quit a job, a relationship, move somewhere else because we know something doesn't feel right anymore, or you're not feeling respected in some way or appreciated. And you got to take action for yourself. And that can be scary sometimes, no matter what you want to do, what you want to take action in, and what you want to start or close or all these kind of things. I'm sure you have your own example. Sometimes fear gets in the way, and then we need to connect to our courage to move through that fear and get to where we want to go. And often we stop at fear or at fearing the fear. You know what I mean? Like often we stop at fearing the fear before we even get to feeling through the fear of doing something. We already stop before that because we are afraid of feeling the fear. So I'm going to give you an example. You think of starting a YouTube channel, or you think of starting a business, or inviting somebody on a date, or moving to a new city, or whatever it is for you. And, maybe there's so much fear or so much you don't know about doing that you think you are afraid of it. And that's valid, that's okay. But often you stop there, right? What's the next step you would take? Often what most people would do is either, brush off the idea. That means suppress the desire to do that, or ignore the desire, or even ignore that this is an option, right? Because we're feeling like we brush on the fear and we're burning our finger a little, and we're like, maybe later, maybe next year, maybe next week I start, but we don't often. And it's okay. It's all about, nobody teaches us that all we got to do is face our fear and actually ask fear, what do you want to tell me? What am I actually feeling underneath the fear? What am I worried about? Because when we are feeling fear of taking action, we essentially believe that we cannot handle something. This is another way of saying it, which I find really actionable. When we think, oh, I'm afraid, I cannot do this, or I'm not sure if this is good for me. I am afraid that I cannot handle the consequences of taking that action. So let's say I cannot handle the consequences of starting a new business because either I'm worried what people think, the judgment, if I fail, what will they say? If I succeed, what will they say? Or what will I feel about myself when I succeed or when I fail? What are the consequences of starting that business? That is your fear. But often we don't even think about it because we're just like, oh my God, that's so scary. You know what I mean? Like, the business is just one example out of a million. I'm sure you have your own. So journal out. What am I actually worried about that I cannot handle if I would take that action? Right? This is a reframe. So that means a reframe is when you have a certain way of seeing something, a certain perspective, like, oh, I'm afraid to start a business. That feels scary. Let's reframe it. So let's use different words so that we can create a different perspective. I'm afraid I cannot handle starting a business. Oh, interesting. So what about it do I feel like I cannot handle? Is it the bureaucratical stuff? Do I know somebody who could explain that to me? Could I look it up online? Is there a course I could do? Am I afraid that I won't have clients? Am I afraid that I will be successful? What would that mean for me, for my family, for my friends? You know, like, would that cause judgment? What do I fear about judgment? Yeah. So you can really go down that rabbit hole and understand yourself better. And as you understand yourself better, you are actually unblocking within you those different worries and beliefs that you have around a fear. And you can start doing that cognitively and then actually go into the feeling. You can also do it the other way around. Doesn't matter really. Sometimes when we sit ourselves down and just feel the fear of doing something. So let's say for the first time, you're gonna decide to give a workshop, or for the first time you decide, I'm gonna start over dating. Oh my God, that's so scary. Okay, I'm using daily life examples just for the simplicity of it, yeah? So you sit yourself down and feel into that fear. Oof, starting dating or starting a business. Ooh, and then allow yourself to really locate where you feel the fear in your body and feel through it, okay? And if that is not accessible to you, that's okay. Sometimes it takes some time for us to actually connect to our body and realize, oh, this is where I'm feeling it in my body. Another option you can do, or you can start with one and then do the next in your process, is to see the fear of whatever it is you want to start or take action on. Maybe it is also start working out or start dancing or whatever. Start playing an instrument. Imagine the fear being a separate part of you. It's not that we want to separate ourselves from that part of us that is afraid. I'm just referring here to internal family systems or partswork, which I use a lot in my work with clients, but also for my own inner journey, to just understand better. Because when we extract a part of ourselves to look at it objectively, we are not that identified with that part, and we can objectively look at that part and be like, oh, this is interesting, get curious, So imagine you can do it with open eyes, with closed eyes. I think it's easier. Imagine you have that part of you in front of you that's afraid. Maybe ask yourself, how do they look like? What age are they? Are they a child, a teenager? Are they your age? Yeah, and then breathe a little, take your time with those things. And then just ask them, what are you afraid of that we couldn't handle? And then maybe they tell you, oh my God, I'm so afraid to embarrass myself. Or I'm so afraid to be judged. Okay, and who taught you that? And then maybe you remember a situation at school or with your parents where you had, disapproval, or you got bullied, or you felt somehow less than or too much, and that made you feel, afraid of expressing yourself or following your intuition or creativity and start something. It can be the tiniest experience. It can be just somebody at school passing by and be like, ha ha, oh my God, your drawing looks so stupid. Yeah. And that can be enough to collect that fear in your brain and make it like encode it as a program that, oh my God, when I get creative, I will be judged. So in order to protect myself, I am not gonna be creative in front of other people. Yeah. So this is just, again, one example out of a million. And this is how we collect our belief system. Yeah. So it can also be that you always had so many ideas as a child and you shared them, and maybe your parents didn't listen to you or made fun of you and didn't take you seriously, and you understood it as, oh, I'm not to be taken seriously, or I'm not valid, or my needs don't matter, or whatever it is, like if you, for example, always had to ask for everything that you needed or wanted, and everything felt like so difficult, maybe you learned my needs don't matter. Or you have 5 siblings and, it was just a lot for your parents to give you all the same attention. And you learn to be very independent and take care of yourself, then you may have learned, the world is on my shoulders, I'm not that important. And maybe now as an adult, you have a hard time allowing people to support you, or maybe even, let friends or a partner in and let them, be there for you in various ways. So you see that how we grew up really influences how we behave as adults, and whatever we're afraid of can link to how we grew up or what we learned, the belief system we picked up, growing up when we were children and teenagers. And but that doesn't always need to be the case. You can also pick it up later in life, obviously. It's just about listening inside to understand, what is my fear all about, and not just stopping at, oh, I'm afraid. What happens in your body when you feel afraid? Do you freeze? Do you fawn? So fawning is like people pleasing and saying, hey, don't worry, I can do it. Do you feel like guilty? Do you feel ashamed? Do you feel like you want to run away and ignore and suppress? What is happening within you? Because, like I said, fear is not your enemy, it's a messenger. And the more you can get to know that messenger, the less afraid you will be of actually feeling fear. It's not about not feeling fear, because I think we will always feel fear when we start something new, when we, get nervous and excited for something and wonder like, ooh, I'm a little scared or afraid to do that. But when we get in touch and build a relationship to our fear, we're actually able to take the fear by the hand as like that little part of us that is afraid, and take the fear by the hand and actually say to the fear, hey, you know what? Don't worry. We've got this. Let's go. Let's do it. And this is what happened for me when I started building a relationship with my fear, of fears, plural, because, sometimes we have a fear here and there and whatever. I started not being afraid of the fear anymore. I started seeing the fear as a messenger and be like curious about it instead of immediately judging it or immediately shaming myself for it, or feeling guilty that I feel fear, or feeling resistant to the fear. Just it's a training that you got to do for yourself. And usually we are a bit hesitant to get in touch and allow those heavier emotions to embrace within us. But when you allow yourself to do that, you become much more resilient, not in an anxious way or in a burning out resilience way, but resilient in terms of your emotional intelligence, your capacity to feel sensation and emotion in your body, your capacity to experience pain. And I don't mean pain as in holding it and just feeling like you're a victim or you're exposed to pain all the time. No, I mean in pain in terms of processing emotion, right? Because it can feel really uncomfortable to process an emotion. So that means it can feel painful, right? Like when you're going through a breakup and you feel your heart hurts and you just don't want to feel that and ignore it and numb it with whatever, like moving on to so many other people or drinking alcohol or whatever. Whatever you cope with in those ways is only going to numb or fill the void for a certain time. But the actual held emotion, the actual grief is still underneath if we don't process it. So that's why it's the easiest way and actually the most rewarding way to, instead of ignoring it and avoiding it, to sit with it either by yourself or with a friend or with a professional and feel through it. And that's what I mean with increasing your capacity to feel pain or emotions. Because at some point you're not going to be so afraid anymore to feel your emotions. And as you process them, there's always a realization on the other side, But if we stop at fearing to feel, we're not going to get the wisdom. We're not going to get the realization on the other side. And usually we are spending so much more time holding an emotion because we're afraid of feeling it, or we're not even aware that we can feel and in fact process the emotion. We're holding it for weeks and months and even years and decades. And then when I have people, for example, come to me to process emotions, they're like, oh, I haven't felt that since I was 14, but I feel like I've always carried that in my backpack. And now I'm releasing it and I'm like, I can breathe. I feel so much lighter because I'm not carrying it anymore. So use your fear as a messenger. And one more point I want to make today is when we want to step through the fear and take action in the direction we want to go, no matter what your action is. Maybe it's about speaking about your psychic gifts or speaking about the art or pursuing art as a job. Whatever it is, it really doesn't matter. You know what you want to do and what you're afraid of doing. So use that as your own example. Usually when something holds us back, it is often an old belief, an old experience that we had in the past that prevents us out of care, out of misguided love, out of misguided care within you, of a part of you trying to protect you, to move forward. And it often has not so much to do with the present situation at hand. It has something to do with what you experienced in the past. Not always, but often. So that's why it's so powerful to listen to your fear, acknowledge it, take it seriously in terms of like a good friend you would listen to, and build that relationship, because it's really powerful when you stop fearing your fear and start deciding to listen to it. It's like you are becoming the parent of your fear. I mean, you would also listen to your child or your best friend or your partner or your parent, whatever, whoever, if they were afraid, right? You wouldn't just push them away and you wouldn't just ignore them. You would ask them, oh, what's going on? Tell me about it. Like, what are you afraid of? Where do you think your fear is coming from? What has happened to you, or what has happened within you that this fear response was created? Okay? Share with me below how you feel about this topic. If you have a personal example, share it for everybody who's gonna read the comments. This is it for today. I'm super excited for my workshop. I cannot wait. I just prepared the playlist because we're going to do breathwork and sound healing, and we're going to start with a meditation, like a hypnosis meditation, for everybody to understand, okay, what is their fear that they want to work on today, and go deeper into, okay, where does this fear come from? Let's look at the part. What age is the part, or how do they look like? What are they feeling? Is there any guilt or shame or fear or sadness maybe? What is the experience they've had in the past that they now want to prevent to happen again? And from there we go into journaling just a little bit for them to hold on to their realizations. And then we go into the deep breath work, which is like around 40 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes, where we really get to unearth, disconnecting from the logical brain and connecting to the subconscious and journeying into the world of emotions and subconscious beliefs. And after they had this big release, we're going to do a sound bath, which is like sort of like a deep listening journey with different frequential instruments. And that helps them to reintegrate into the body and to calm down. And then that's it for today. I also do these sessions, not the whole one, but with the breath, where we go deep into a topic and we start with a meditation, some journaling, and then the breath work online. And I do this once a month. And if you ever want to join, the link is in my bio here underneath in the section below. So it's very affordable, 15 euros. And even if you cannot make it in person, you can buy the replay and have that available to do at any time that you want to, from the comfort of your home, your couch, your bed, wherever. And I love these sessions because they are really powerful and they really change and unlock something within you and create a shift that allows you to make decisions, find clarity, take steps in the direction you want to. So come join us if it feels good to you. If not, it's fine too, no worries. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. If you haven't yet, subscribe. And I see you in another video. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Ciao.